That's it. Friends, that's They Won't Go When I Go. A beautiful. I thought I was out. That's They Won't Go When I Go by Stevie Wonder. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. George Michael did it, and I just love that so much, and it's really fun to noodle to. So that's what I decided to do today. I just love little pieces like that. So friends, welcome to our Tuesday live broadcast here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the first time that I was in the studio. It's just a short little story. There's not a whole lot to it, but there's some stuff to learn there, and I'm going to get to your questions straight to it today. Folks on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. In fact, let me pull up the old Facebook really quickly, and we're going to get straight to it. Or actually, I'm going to tell you my story here really quickly, and then we're going to get straight to it. Okay? Now, folks, if you're new to this, lots of fun things to do. We do giveaways, we answer questions, and that sort of thing. If you're new to it, make sure that you're logged in so that I can see you on Facebook or YouTube, and type away your questions there, and I'll get to them, okay? Also, we're doing, we said that we were going to be doing giveaways differently. Well, today's giveaway, this week's giveaway, is going to be based off of a post that we have on Facebook, and we put this up yesterday. It's this guy right here, all right? And so there's a few different posts on Facebook right now. Look at this weird guy doing this, okay? He's rocking out, socks out. That's the one you want to post to, okay? There are other ones on there, and I know right now other people that some folks are going to get it wrong, but I'm telling you, that is the weirdo post. That's the weird dude that you're going to be posting underneath, okay? And basically what we do is we like to sometimes do Facebook, sometimes Instagram, sometimes Twitter, sometimes YouTube, different places so that everybody can be part of this. I know somebody out there is going to say, but I don't have Facebook, because that's how he types. He types like that. And he's going to say, I don't have Facebook. Okay, well, cool. Then you can join it when we do Twitter or when we do Instagram. But I'm not expecting you to be part of all of these things, just giving you different opportunities. Cool? All right, good. So you don't have to be part of Facebook to do this. Well, you do for this one, yeah. And so you're going to like it and leave a comment, and then what we do is we pick a winner out of there. We pick one random winner, and they win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365. Whoa, what? A $529 value. That's right. Pretty cool. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you for the love there on Facebook. So let's talk about it. So my first time in the studio. So what I mean by this is the first time that I was in the studio, like with a band, and there was an engineer and a producer and the whole 9 yards. I was 16 years old. I think that's accurate. So I started playing guitar when I was 14. So fast forward 2 years. I had almost immediately purchased a 4-track recorder because I wanted to record myself. I wanted to loop, right? I wanted to hear myself play. I wanted to start recording songs. That's what I did right away. I encourage you to do the same thing. There are apps that you can get for your phone for free that are multi-track, that are much, much more powerful than what the Beatles recorded on back in the day. Way more powerful right in your phone there. So there is absolutely no excuse if you desire to record, okay? So sans that, not including that stuff, I joined this band called AWOL when I was 16 years old. I had been playing for 2 years. Audition, I think I told you about the audition already. Got the audition, and they said, great, you're our guitar player. By the way, we're in the studio, and we just kicked out our last guitar player, and you're it. So now you need to go in and play these tracks. So they gave me these songs, and I needed to learn them really quickly. And I was a fairly good ear player for only been playing for 2 years back then. That's pretty much what I relied on was my ear. And so, boom, it was go time. I had to learn the songs. And then I had to do a few solos, and that was the part that was so fun for me because I was just getting into the blues. I was just getting into soloing and phrasing and all that stuff, listening to all my favorites. I could give you a list of them: Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, George Lynch, a lot of the like shredders back in the day. Those were the guys that I was listening to. And so, boom, I'm off to the studio. It's called Hummingbird Studios. There's a Hummingbird Studios here in Nashville. Oddly enough, not related, but was the first place that I had an internship, was Hummingbird Studios here in Nashville. And totally unrelated. But it was Hummingbird. It was in Melbourne, Florida, Central Florida on the Space Coast. And that's pretty much it. A couple little fun tidbits is I didn't have a legitimate amplifier then, what I called my big boy amp, which we talked about last week. I did not have that. So literally, and the tracks sound like this, I had a DOD distortion pedal. If you guys have ever had DOD, some people jokingly call it Donny Osmond Digital. It's I won't tear them down, but nonetheless, this distortion was not very good. It sounded like Donny Osmond created this pedal himself, and I literally plugged my guitar into that, and then that went straight into the board, and it sounded that good. Oh no, it did not. It sounded very harsh and mosquito-y sounding, and I have that cassette tape still. I probably need to convert that to digital so that you guys can hear it and I could play it on the show here. That would be fun. So sometime I'll do that. I promise you that I'll get that to digital. Okay, without further ado, let's get into some questions because, and you can ask me questions about that studio experience or anything else because really that's all for me to tell you there. It's not like some amazing story other than I plugged into this ridiculous pedal and it was my first time in the studio and I was very nervous, but I did well for what was expected of me and how long I've been playing the guitar and everything else. And I still listen back to those solos and I go, oh yeah, that's how I was thinking. I was thinking this phrase and I was thinking from this solo and I could actually hear licks that I was stealing from Randy Rhoads and some of my favorite guitar players back in the day. So pretty cool stuff. All right, so let's do this. Let's get into it. Last week I started on YouTube, the questions, and this week I'm going to start on Facebook and then we'll bump over to YouTube. Again, Instagram folks, head over to those two different places if you would like your questions answered today. There's Scott, Nick, how you guys? We got England in the house. Nice. And by the way, I'm only looking for those with a question mark afterwards. If you've put a question and you don't have a question mark on it, probably going to skip it because it's just going to look like chitter chat between you guys, okay? So make sure that you repost it with a question mark. Otherwise, probably going to miss it. Okay. Calgary's in the house. We got Hawaii. We got Detroit, Michigan, Seattle, Calgary. Nice. A lot of folks in Calgary. El Dorado, California. Fort Worth. Okay. Is there a way to determine if my strings are too high? I had it done by a luthier, but still seems too high. Flying Hawaii. Flying Hawaii. So this is just a matter of preference. It's absolutely subjective. Bluegrass players love their strings very high. So there is not a correct height. Okay. Number one. And number two, the way that you could find out whether your strings are too high in regards to what's expected, I should say, or, even though it's a subjective matter, there's obviously some common sense where if your strings are rattling against the fretboard, they're probably too low. And if they're super high to where when you press them down, your hands just absolutely hurt, and it's ridiculous, where you don't need someone's opinion. You can go, my strings are too high. They're sitting like this off the fretboard. Then obviously there is too high. That's very logical. But a great thing to do, and I would advise this for everybody out there, if you wonder if your strings are too high, this is the litmus test. Hand your guitar to a legitimate guitar player. If you can hand it to a couple of legitimate, or 3 or 4 legitimate guitar players, then they're going to let you know, hey, this guitar plays great, or this guitar is obnoxiously high. You need to take this to a luthier and get your strings adjusted. So that's what I would do. Give it to another guitar player, let them try it out, and let them give you their opinion, because it would be too difficult to diagnose over the internet, right? You'd have to have someone play it. Been chatting with Rob at Groons, planning to stop by. Is it okay to say that you recommended them? Roddy, yes, please do so, and talk to Corey Corey is my guy there, but they're all great cats there. So definitely tell them that I sent you. That would be nice, actually. I appreciate that, Roddy. Roddy and I have chatted a lot online. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Fantastic store, by the way. I love your charts like Amazing Grace. Can you give tips on playing charts like the Ultimate Guitar app? Okay, I don't know what the Ultimate Guitar app is, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, UG. Okay, so you're talking about tabs and charts. They're not really known as charts there. Those are, I mean, I guess you could call them charts, but those are like lyric chord. I don't know what you call them, but typically a chart is going to be more. It's going to have more parameters that are very definitive in timing, telling you when to play the chord, how long to hold the chord for, that sort of thing. Whereas lyric chord, we'll call them charts, but really they're not charts. Let's say a lyric chord page has the chords and then has the lyrics, then has the chord over it, right? Well, that's great. If you know the song and if you know basic structure and what have you, then you can get a pretty good idea for when that chord comes in. You say, well, it comes over that word. Okay, fine, but now try strumming and be real consistent with that. You're going to find that it's not so accurate. Whereas if you're looking at a chart and it's very definitive and it says this chord is held out for 4, this one's held out for 8, this one's held out for 6, then you're counting in your head. 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, changing the chord. Whereas if it's a lyric, and let's say the vocalist is holding that lyric out a little bit differently than what you're seeing on the chart, then bam, it's going to be different for you, okay? So Todd, thank you for the compliment on the Amazing Grace and the charts. I used to offer those charts online, actually. I had them for free out there. There were hundreds of them that I created, built off of the songs, the tutorials that I have on YouTube, and I started getting flack from the record industry because my charts obviously were bringing down the whole record industry and just killing killing the whole industry. I'm the reason that the record industry has come to ruin is because of my charts. No joke. I had the vice president of Sony Records call me on the phone. I crap you not. Called me on the phone, very angry. And I told him that, in fact, I was helping the situation because it's called exploitation of copyrights. And that's the whole point of a publisher is to, don't get me started. Okay, I was exploiting their copyrights, but in a way that was good. No one was learning the song in lieu of going and buying the tune. But when you're dealing with people who aren't creative, but they're talking on behalf of creative people, oh dear Lord, don't get me started. You got me started. How can I learn to strum upward better? James. So friends, you're going to hear me talk about this a lot. The free course. I'm sorry, so sorry for those of you that have heard me say it 100 times. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of new folks in the house. And for those folks that haven't gotten into this before, here's the link that you want to go to. It's the free program that I created. It's literally the top 30 lessons that I teach all my students. It's going to teach you how to strum. It's going to teach you how to finger pick. It's going to teach you basic music theory, all the theory that you're really going to need to know for a long time, actually, playing guitar. It's going to teach you a ton of stuff. So James, that's where to get started. And for those of you, I'm sorry that I have to repeat that, but a lot of people don't know that that's out there. It's a massive value because it's absolutely free, and it's literally 30 lessons from me. So it's a big deal. Some people offer 1 or 2 lessons. This is the whole course, step by step by step. Okay, and I have lessons beyond that if you need them, but that's the place to get started. Okay, Travis Cartwright is saying, fingernails or no fingernails on the right hand. I feel like my nails, if long, they get caught on the strings while picking. Travis, that's just a matter of practice, but also, really with your nails, you don't want them too long. So I've got, my nails are they're really not that long. Maybe, gosh, I don't know. Just maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch beyond the quick, where your nail touches your actual finger. So maybe an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch beyond that. If I'm looking at my hand from this, like this, then I can just see the nail at the top and just a little bit more, and that's it. So make sure that you keep them cut back a lot. In fact, I bought an electric, or it's battery operated, nail file, which is great. Every day I just hit it with a buffer, and then this way my nails always look shiny and beautiful, and they don't chip. Okay, so if you're always keeping them polished at the tip here, then your chances are they're not going to break and that sort of thing. But it sounds like your fingernails are probably too long, Travis. But then start viewing the video, the finger picking video that I have inside of the free course, because that's going to help you get attenuated to where your hand should sit and the right fingers and the right strings and all the rest. Okay. How long should acoustic strings last? Totally subjective matter, Joe. It depends on how much you play them. It depends on a lot of things. The environment, if you're around salt water, it depends on your specific sweat. I had a buddy in college that if he played your guitar one time, he'd ruin your strings with something wacky with his pH on his skin. And so, and I imagine there's everywhere in between there, right? If that guy's on one end and I can play strings for a year and they still look shiny, then there's a spectrum, right? Surely there is. Any advice on 6/8 and 9/8 time signatures? Benji, no, not any specific advice. If you know how to count eighth notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? That'd be 8/8. And then 6/8 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 9 would be counting 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. And that one's slightly odd, what we call an odd signature, because it's not even. It's not a 6, it's not a 2, a 4, or an 8. And so it's odd. And so you've got 9 of these 8 things sitting in there, or 9 eighth notes, and it's just it's uneven. So Benji, what to do is to understand how to count like that first, and then count like that as you're playing your licks or whatever song you're playing. Slow it down if you need help with that. But it's very important that you're counting. If you're not counting, then you're going to have a difficult time with that. Could you tell me where to find your products like distortion pedal and guitar recommendations? Yes, I will. Michael, that's kit.com/YourGuitarSage. There's the link right there. And now my overdrive pedal is not on there. This is the overdrive pedal, and it hasn't been released yet, but this is it. This is the Dueling Ninja. Okay, and we're still doing some troubleshooting on this guy. Pretty cool, right? See the little ninjas there? Mike created that really cool bit there with the flying star. And this is a dual overdrive pedal with a tip of the hat or an ode to 2 of my favorite pedals, the Tube Screamer and the OCD, specifically the version 3, the Rico, which is that's what I have in my pedal board, and it's a beautiful pedal, amazing. So Michael, that is not in that store yet. My guitars are not in there as well. However, my recommendations are there, kit.com/YourGuitarSage. Okay, great. All right, headed away from Facebook and now over to YouTube, Instagram. You know where to go. Friends, if you can share this video, sharing is caring, and that would be so sweet. I would really appreciate it if you did that. Also, for those of you who just joined us, we have a giveaway. It's over on Facebook. You can win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System /365. You're going to see a post there with a dude doing this. It's a white post. It's not a red post like the other day. Might look a little something like this guy. And then what you'll do is you'll go to that, you'll like it, and then you'll comment on it. It's on Facebook.com/YourGuitarSage. That puts you in the running for a lifetime membership. Now here's the deal. We do so many of these giveaways, friends. We give away, my gosh, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of these every single year. Now, some of that's to charity, but we definitely give away tens of thousands of dollars worth of lifetime memberships every single year. Indeed, because we typically give away about $5,000 worth every single month times 12. What's that? Like $60,000 worth of memberships. So we give a lot of these away. So if you enter every time, chances are you're going to win. How can you do that, Eric? You're always giving stuff away. Well, because there's lots of people in the world, and some people buy it and some people end up winning it, and if somebody who bought it ends up winning it, then they give it to their cousin or their friend or charity or something like that, and everybody's happy. Cool, right? Awesome. All right, let's get to some questions here. And okay, again, and I'm going to be looking for those with a question mark, okay? Eric, have you ever created a jingle or something similar for a commercial we might know, but you can't disclose it under NDA non-disclosure? Larry, no. Anything that I've created is not going to be something that you know unless you've followed some real specific bands like in the 80s and in the 90s. You're just not going to, it's just not even worth mentioning, to be quite honest with you. Played for an artist by the name of Tony Vincent. Why am I mentioning it? I said it's not worth mentioning. Played for an artist by the name of Tony Vincent, was in a band called Chariot, another band called AWOL, Fastway, I think Straightway, it was called Straightway. A lot of, Me and Eric was another band, the Cosmic Love Bunnies. We had some crazy band names, but nothing that you'd probably hear. My wife, on the other hand, has written lots of stuff that you would have heard of. Her name is Melissa Pierce. We just got done, actually, we got done about 2 or 3 years ago writing this book, but it isn't out yet, and we're just now getting it out. We wrote a book on songwriting. The majority of it is her writing it. Her name is Melissa Pierce. It's P-E-I-R-C-E, P-E-I-R-C-E, and that's who you want to look up. And she's written songs for Disney and written songs for Reba McEntire and tons of songs. David Nail, Carrie Underwood, Keith Urban, like lots of people. You can look her up, though, by just looking up her last name. Or looking up her first name and last name. Melissa Pierce, okay? Okay. Home studios. Question mark. Yes. The answer is yes. Get one, okay? Is this how you avoid paying taxes, Eric? Smart. Not sure what you mean. What is avoiding paying taxes? You mean giving stuff away? No. And in fact, all the stuff I give away, I don't even claim that. So it's literally just giveaway. It's not even something that I get a tax refund on, if that's what you're asking about. I just give them away. Eric, I'm already a UGS member. If I win another Dan, I give it away to a friend? Oh, can I give it away to another? I think that's what you're saying. Yes, of course you can, Brian. Indeed, we'll do that. Any tips for transitioning from acoustic to electric? Daniel, yes, do it. There really is no difference. It feels a little different, but it would be the equivalent of if you were saying, hey, I drive a sedan, but I want to drive a Porsche. Any suggestions? Yeah, get in the Porsche and get used to it because it's going to feel different. Has a steering wheel, has wheels, doors and stuff like that, but it's going to drive a little differently. So, Daniel, yeah, just get in there and do it. Learn some songs on electric. Follow my videos. You're going to be good, okay? A little late, but made it. Can you start over? I suppose so. We're only a half hour in, Ronnie. We're starting over for Ronnie. I know Ronnie's kidding. I'm hoping Ronnie's kidding. I'm a recipient of a UGS membership. It's one of the best things to ever happen to me. It's been life-changing. I'm so happy. Eric is a godsend. I can't thank him enough. Thank you so much, Mom. Appreciate that. No, that's Jerry, and Jerry and I have spoken many times inside the system. Thank you so much, Jerry, for letting folks know that. Rahan is saying, I'm getting a vintage Strat. The edge of fretboard above 5th fret is a bit rough. Is there any way to smooth it out? You probably mean the frets, right? The edge of the fretboard. Yeah. So here's the deal, Rahan. I've noticed this with more affordable Strats, is that when you run your hand across it, it will almost cut you here, right? And from what I understand from John Scott, the gentleman who's building my guitar right now, is he says that when they build the guitar, the wood hasn't dried out completely. This is the kind of stuff that you pay for when you pay for more expensive guitars. A lot of people don't know this. They're like, What? It's got a neck, it's got a body, it's got pickups, and it's $200. It's $150, and that joker wants $3,000 for his guitar. What a waste, right? And they go on with this because they're some expert on guitars. Don't listen to that guy, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, the difference between a $200 guitar and a $2,000 guitar obviously is $1,800, but it also has to do with workmanship and the choice of wood and how they age the wood and a bazillion other things that go into a guitar. You can study about it and know exactly what that's all about, Rahan, but that is what you're going to get with a more affordable guitar. So is there a way to smooth that out? I wouldn't try doing it yourself, because you're going to be like sitting there chiseling away or filing away, and you're going to be hitting your fretboard, and it's going to be a big mess, okay? So I would not do it. I'd bring it to a luthier if you want to do that. Again, this is what you get with a more pricey guitar. I don't like the color of my Strat. If I get the paint removed and get it repainted, will it affect the tone and overall fitting of electronics stay legit? Yeah, chances are everything will stay legit, and the tone, you're probably not going to hear too much of a difference, but technically, yeah. You know. Okay, why wouldn't you claim it? Your bookkeeper should be fired. Well, because, I mean, I would technically, but the way the IRS looks at it is they don't look at what I do. That they don't look at that thing. It has to be a physical thing. It can't be a membership. So gotta take that up with the IRS. I know, weird. I showed up late today. What are your feelings on flat wound strings for a beginner guitar player? Advanced players, less typical tone. If you're thinking that flat wounds are going to be easier on your fingers, probably not. A lot of people think that. And flat wounds typically sound darker. It's just a darker tone. So if you like that sound, then cool. But if you don't like that sound, then you probably aren't going to dig that, okay? It's just not something that, players used to use it a lot. It's great for jazz and that sort of thing. But if it makes you happy, then do it, okay? What's a good starter mic to record myself singing? Celeste is saying. A great one is an SM57, Shure, S-H-U-R-E. It's known as the hammer of the recording industry. Basically, you could use it as a hammer or a microphone. It's super sturdy, and for the most part, it gets a good sound, especially for the money. It's less than $100. You can get them used sometimes for $50, $60. Okay, good. Can I tell you how awesome you are? Thank you so much, Sherry. I've learned so much from you. Thank you, sir. Experienced guitar player wanting to perfect my solo improvisation. What course is best for me? Walter's saying. Walter, the Unstoppable Guitar System, obviously. This is how I teach, and if I thought there was a better program, then I would just teach like they did, or I would teach better than them, because that's my goal, is to teach really well. I'd like to be a great guitar player as well, but my main focus these days is to give what I have and give it to others. So in order for me to do that, I really need to focus on teaching. And if I'm woodshedding for 8 hours a day or 10 or 12 hours a day, I'm not going to be able to teach like I do now. That being said, yes, the Unstoppable Guitar System, you can check it out by going to the free course. The link for that's in the description of this video, and you can check out the first 30 lessons. So even if you don't like it, if you're like, this guy's a clown, he knows nothing about guitar, boom, 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 that guy right there, you can say, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and I didn't have to spend a dime. But I got these free 30 lessons, You could do that, or chances are you're going to get in there and you're really going to fall in love with it, and you're going to go to the minimalistic blues section of the course, and you're going to learn improvisation, you're going to learn phrasing, all that good stuff. Also working on a Master the Blues series right now. I'm probably like 30 videos in. Those are going to be uploaded today. And for the Unstoppable Guitar System folks, you know that I am putting new content up there all the time. I'm probably going to be putting about over 2 hours of content, new content up soon. I'll let you know. You're going to get an email from me, okay, regarding that. But Walter, if you want a little quick taste of what the minimalistic blues is on YouTube, you could open up another tab right now on YouTube and search YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues, or just search Minimalistic Blues, and I'll probably be the first guy to pop up to the top there, because that's kind of, I phrased that myself. It's just my idea of what we're doing when we're playing blues is we typically stick to one little area of the neck. we'll just kind of noodle around in one little section, or would it be down here? We may just noodle around here and then come up here. And then up here. So usually we stick to one section, we noodle, 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 move to another section, noodle, noodle, noodle. I'm making this very elementary. There's more to it than that. Even Stevie Ray Vaughan, he doesn't play like this. He's not like, he's not doing that. He's like, noodle, noodle, noodle. I'll come down here and do some stuff and then come up here. There's always like a little section of the neck. And if you think this way, it's going to really help with your phrasing and the whole 9 yards, Can you lock me up and make me learn music theory? Old guy gardening. Here's the deal. If you obviously have not started with the free course, because if you do, there's no locking up. You don't have to be locked up. I get what you're saying, but here's the deal. What happens is we feel that way because if we're a child, we're getting 5th and 7th grade material and 12th grade material before we got kindergarten material. And if we had gotten kindergarten material and then went to 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th like we did in school, like they did with math and all the other stuff, right? Even that didn't go so well. But if we did that in a step-by-step process, then you don't feel the pain. It's like going to the gym and lifting 10 pounds the first day, and then the next day you lift 11 pounds. The next day you lift 12. You don't even feel the pain because you're slowly building up, and slow and steady wins the race. You've heard me say that a bunch, right? So old guy gardening, you don't have to be locked up. Start with the free course, and I promise you, my friend, you're going to be like, dude, not only do I get this, but I'm using it right away, so you're not going to forget it. And then you're going to be like, well, what's next? And then I'm going to give you another bit, and you're going to be like, oh, that's amazing. What's next? And you just constantly keep doing that. But if you learn music theory in order and only the stuff that you need, not the stuff you don't need, why would we learn that? I don't know Mandarin because I don't have a need to know Mandarin, right? I know English pretty well because I grew up learning it and because it suits me pretty well since I live in America, right? So same thing here. Don't learn any theory that you don't need to. How do I know what stuff to learn? That's why I'm giving you the free course, so you can just get in there and you can do it, and then you'll be like, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, great. That's a great question, old guy. Fantastic. Okay. Hey, look at this. Sub skip $2 towards the lunch fund today, my friend. Thank you so much, sub skip. So appreciate that. Very kind of you. If Sage has enlightened your playing and given you a valuable added benefit in the free courses, consider Super Chat, just as if he was playing on the street with his case open explaining all this stuff. Thank you so much, Thrash Metal. Super duper kind of you, my friend. And Thrash Metal is the guy who started it all here, man. He was the first guy to donate using Super Chat here on YouTube, and he started this little trend here. I know it's a thing that a lot of people do, but we don't ask for donations, right? We just do free stuff, and if you want to get in the course, then great. But we, since the beginning of time, 2006, I started posting videos to YouTube because I would get done teaching, 50, 60, 70 lessons that week, and I would end up inevitably teaching the same song like 5 or 6 times because that was the popular song, whatever it was, typically a Taylor Swift song or Miley Cyrus or something like that. And I would say, well, I've learned this song, why don't I just make a video of it and upload it? And that's how we got started. So several thousands of videos later, and like close to 100 million views now. We've helped a lot of folks out around the world. Pretty cool. So the donations are very appreciated, and in fact, that's what I do is I literally take only that money, and we go to lunch afterwards, after the broadcast today. So thank you so much, Subskip. We will be splitting a bag of chips today. No, seriously, that's super kind. All right, after a setup, I noticed varied pickup volumes on my Squier Strat. I adjusted the pickup heights to balance volume. to balance volumes. Did I do it right? Mike, that's a hard one to say. Number one, because I would say I'm not qualified to say that specifically. But, when it comes to that sort of thing, it really is just a matter, it's a subjective matter. So if you're hearing it and it's sounding better to you, then I would say, yeah, you got it right. What Mike's talking about is, on some pickups, you can just adjust the pickup, either, this side or this side, right? With these screws. And in some pickups, like the Les Paul, you actually have individual screw pull pieces, and you can adjust those up or down. And doing so gives you volume changes per string. So if you have one string that's too loud, one string that's too quiet, you can actually adjust those. Pretty cool, especially on those where you can adjust each individual pull piece. Now, usually with like Strats and stuff, they have those set up already. They're just set up a certain way, and that's the way they are. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Yep. Intellectual. Yep. What do you think about Japanese Strats? Are they good? I've owned many Japanese Strats and many Mexican Strats over the days, and I've thought they were absolutely fantastic. So, Fender makes some great stuff, but sometimes you get a clunker, a lemon, but they make great stuff. And if you're on a budget, then get a Japanese Strat, get a Mexican Strat. They're very close to an American Strat. Okay. I think I asked you this question 20 live streams ago, but I lost my notes. Do you have any tips on guitar straps that fall off the knob? Whoa. So yes, this is one of my favorite, and I think we have these on the kit store, kit.com/YourGuitarSage. If we don't, guys, please make a note of this and let's put one on there. But this is made by Planet Waves. So there's the link right there. If we don't have this on there, guys, let's make sure we get it on there. This is made by Planet Waves, also known as D'Addario. And what's really cool about these is that you've got this kind of thing that closes up. Okay, you probably can't see that, but nonetheless, it has this little thing on it. And what that does is it literally closes up and it wraps around the button or the knob here for your guitar strap. And it keeps the strap on there really, really well. Okay. And they're cheap. They're like 10 bucks or something. They're one of my favorite straps because no animals were skinned for them. And because they're adjustable and they make sure that my expensive guitars don't fall off of me. So for all those reasons, and they're affordable, they're like 10 bucks. So I just bought like a bunch of them for this, like a dozen of them for the studio, and they're awesome. Okay, super cool. Is my wife any relation to Tim Pierce? No. She spells her name P-E-I-R-C-E. Yeah. Oh, and it's Melissa Pierce. M-E-L-I-S-S-A. Yeah. Can you view later? Yes, Robert, you can. We will have this. We will have this broadcast later. Yep. It will be on Facebook and on YouTube. Cool. Any chances we could get you to do some 80s, 90s rock classes? Kajito is saying. Kajito, I have tons of 80s and 90s rock songs on YouTube. So what I would suggest you doing, and this is for everybody, if you're looking for a specific song or a specific genre or something like that, best to go to search on YouTube like YourGuitarSage AC/DC or YourGuitarSage The Cure, YourGuitarSage Van Halen, whatever it is that you're searching for. And then you're going to find me teaching at least a song by your favorite artist, chances are. That's the way to do it. So name your favorite artist, or name YourGuitarSage and then the name of your favorite artist. You're going to find some stuff from me there, okay? Lots of them. I have over 1,000 videos on YouTube, so tons of stuff for you to dig into, okay? Been checking out all your videos, learning more from you than anyone else. You're fantastic. Thank you. You will have a new student very shortly. Thanks for answering the question. Oh, thank you so much, Walter. I really appreciate that, my friend. Very, very kind of you, bud. So kind. Oh, Gary just gave $2 to the lunch fund for the guys. Thank you so much. I might even let them out of their cages today, if I'm feeling that that kind. No, I've got the best team, seriously. Mike, Chris, Jason, Henson, John. I've got some amazing guys working for me. And by guys, I mean guys and gals. We just don't have any gals today, but we've had gals working for us before. But I have an amazing team. And there's absolutely no way I could even come close to doing what I do without them. There's no way. When I was doing a one-man show before, not even just live, but everything. I was editing my own videos. I was uploading my own videos. I was tagging my own videos. Everything was me. And that was from 2006 to 2012. So what's that? 7 years. So if you're wanting to do something magnificent, if you're wanting to do something wonderful, it takes time. And this is a perfect template of that, in that for literally 7 years I was just completely solo. And 2012, Jason joined me, and we've just been growing since then. So anyhow, love to my guys. They're amazing. What would you advise locking tuners? What would you advise locking tuners upgrade to my Strat clone? I do not use a tremolo at all. Let me try to make sense of this. Would you advise locking tuners upgrade to my Strat clone? I do not use a tremolo at all. Okay, the tremolo doesn't really matter. Locking tuners. Okay, locking tuners to upgrade my Strat clone. Bruce, no, I would not suggest doing that. Sorry, I had to make sense of that. I would not suggest that, just because you're going to spend some money, and the tuners are typically the last place that you're having tuning issues. Now, if you have a guitar that has bad tuners, then it's probably the first thing. But I'm just telling you, from hundreds of guitars that I've played, and at least 100 that I've owned, I don't think I've ever had a problem with a tuner. So that'll tell you how often that happens. It's like hardly ever. But lots of problems with the nut, a lot of problems with not understanding how to pull the guitar into pitch, not understanding how to stretch the strings, all that. And I have a great video for this, Bruce, that's on YouTube. I have a whole series inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. Again, the smattering of stuff that I put on YouTube, I have a whole series for inside of UGS, because those are folks that are paying a premium, and they've paid for all that, right? So, but with that being said, Bruce, on YouTube you could search YourGuitarSage tuning.
Did you accidentally summon me?
No. Go away. Okay. Sorry. So do that on YouTube. Just search tuning, YourGuitarSage tuning, and you'll find it. Okay. All right. Where do we find the free lessons, Matthew? In the description of this video. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, look in the smattering of words underneath the video or on the side of the video, and you're going to see, the first thing you're going to see is a link. It's yourguitarsage.com/30, or you can just go there. I feel like someone posted that recently inside the thread. I think they did on YouTube. Nonetheless, that's where you want to go. Okay, someone will probably post that again soon, and so I thank you ahead of time. So yeah, yourguitarsage.com/30. That's where you want to go. Okay. Oh yeah, Subskip uploaded that. Thank you so much, friend. While playing the D major chord, when I pull off from a high E with my middle finger, I get no sound. Oh, someone just gave $10. Who is this? Jared. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, bud. Sage, been a UGS member for about 4 months now, and I'm moving along ravenously. Love that. You just can't miss going in order. I'm fixing to hit Nashville for a short vacation soon. Where are some sweet places? Jared, first of all, thank you so much for the donation, and we will be adding that to the lunch fund today. So kind of you. And so some sweet places to go. So my favorite place on Broadway is Roberts Western World. It's free. The music starts at about 10 or 10:30 there on a Friday, Saturday night. It's the best music in Nashville. They have the best bands. They play old school country, swing, the best steel players, best fiddle players, best upright bass, guitar players. I mean, you name it, all the great like chicken pickers and stuff like that have played Roberts. It is the place to go. It's great on Friday and Saturday nights. It's free. The food is terrible. And the dancing is wonderful, and you'll see some college girl dancing with some 80-year-old guy who can swing dance, and everybody's one big happy family there. You probably won't find a seat to sit down because it's literally just packed, but it's absolutely fantastic. Go to Roberts. Everybody, go there. Run. Obviously, go to Groon's Guitar. Go to Rumble Seat Guitar. Go to Carter's. These are 3 places you have to go. Go to those 3. Those are magnificent stores that are legit. Have all that legitimate old school stuff with old amplifiers, old guitars, expensive, beautiful stuff played by some of the best players of our time. They have their guitars right in those stores a lot of times. So go to those places. If you need other places, let me know. One of my favorite places is Urban Market. I love that. That's in Franklin, Tennessee. Gray's. Yeah, all sorts of fun places to eat. So beautiful. Okay, thank you, Jared. So Raymond's saying, while playing the D major chord, when I pull off from the high E string with my middle finger, I get no sound, only a thump sound. It only happens on that fret. Raymond, make sure it's not your guitar. If it's your guitar, then obviously you got to get that checked out by a luthier. But make sure it's not your sleeve or that you're muting that you're muting it yourself, okay? How do you set your detonation slides? Please help. Whoa, I think you're on the wrong room here, my friend. We're not detonating anything. You mean intonation, don't you? And I think you probably mean the saddles, right? Do you mean sliding the saddles for intonation? David, if that is what you mean, there's some good videos on YouTube about this, okay? Otherwise, this is what you do in a nutshell, okay? Is you pick the note and you make sure it's in tune. Okay, so literally with my tuner, I'm looking down and it's an E, okay? And then right here at the 12th fret, I'm gonna play it again, and it should also be an E. If it's not, if it's sharp, then I'm gonna take my saddle and I'm going to move it towards the fret, or towards the nut. I'm 95% sure about that. If there's a luthier in the house, you can let us know for sure. I don't do this anymore. I used to do it in my teens, but I just don't do it anymore. I leave that up to my techs to do it because number one, I don't have the time, and number two, they're going to get it better than I can. Okay, so it saves me time and money to allow them to do it. So you pick that, should be an E. I pick this, should be an E. If it's sharp, then I'm going to take the saddle and move it that way. Not very much, mind you. Okay, now if I do this again, if it's an E and it's flat, so it's lower, the note is lower, then I'm going to move the saddle this way, okay? But I'm sure if I got that wrong, that one of the luthiers in the house will let us know because we have a few of them that watch the show. So beautiful, right? So that's what to do, my friend. Climber 7565 UGS, this is a super bomb. Everyone needs to get in there and practice with dedication and practice. Love it. Thank you, my friend. Indeed. Yeah. Okay, Eric. I got a DIY build kit for Christmas. Any tips or advice? Have you ever built one yourself? Tom, I have not. I don't really have any tips or advice other than make sure you get it set up by a pro afterwards. A setup makes all the difference in the world. I don't understand why these guitar companies ship a guitar out, and I know what they're doing. They're saving money by not having it set up. Now, if you buy my guitar, right, which I'm having 3 different models built, these things are going to be impeccably set up. I mean, they're going to play like race cars. That's part of the cost that's built into it. I would never send a guitar out that isn't just tweaked to the nines. Because you could have a super expensive, you could have a $10,000 guitar, and if the action's too high or the intonation's off or something, someone's going to pick it up and they're going to hate it. I just don't understand why somebody wouldn't take the time. I don't care if it's $150 to do it. Like, take the time. It's one thing if it's a $200 guitar, you're not going to put another $150 into it. You're not going to have any margin, right? But for anything that's like $500 and above, just build that into the price. But what happens is people do this. They say, I want the cheapest guitar, and then they get the cheapest guitar, and it plays like crap, and they go, oh, I wonder why this plays like crap. Because you bought the cheapest ass guitar, right? That could be the first problem. You didn't buy something that was set up. So there are reasons that things are cheap, and there's reasons that things are expensive. They don't always equate to being better, but you got to do your due diligence. You got to research that stuff, okay? So definitely get it set up, Tom. That's what I would request. Rick, good morning, buddy. Yes. Okay, just out of random interest, how many girls are in your course? Celeste is saying. Celeste, there's no way for me to know how many. We don't really ask that. I just know by name, right? But I would say that there are more girls in the course than there are girls that watch my YouTube videos. Yeah, because the majority are men between like 35 and up. That's like my demographic of folks that say, hey, this guy's good. So cool. But there's a lot of ladies that I speak to inside of the program. So I would say there's probably more that are in the course than are actually watching on YouTube. But unfortunately, I don't know that number because we don't really ask that question. Chris Duors is saying, when changing chords, occasionally the strings will stick to my finger while transitioning, mainly the low E string. It creates a plucking noise. Or like that sort of noise, right? Is this common, or is there an easy fix? It is definitely common, Chris, and the easy fix is just to work on your technique. It'll go away over time. But here's what I have found to be true, Chris, is typically this only bothers beginners because they're being super focused and they're being super critical of how they're playing. That's not necessarily bad because that will help them to see little nuances like that. But rest assured, Chris, it's totally okay. It's not going to break anything. You're not going to bother anything. And we're used to that sound. So your technique, as you play more, that will resolve itself. You won't even have to, yes, if you observe it, just like in meditation or anything like that, whatever you observe will go away, right? So if you have a thought, you observe it, it goes away. Similarly, when we're playing guitar, if you observe a bad habit, same thing in life. If you observe a bad habit, the chances are it's going to go away. If you don't observe it, if you don't know you're doing it, chances are it's just going to stay with you. So observance is the first thing. Ooh, we're getting metaphysical today. Not metaphysical, quantum physics. How many hours a day do you play? Do you take days off? Tim, I don't specifically think about taking days off. It happens sometimes. Back in the day, I remember my first few years of playing, I never wanted to have a day off. So every single day I made sure that I played no matter what because I just was like, I'm never going to take a day off. But now there are days where sometimes I won't pick up the guitar, typically on the weekend or something like that. Maybe one day out of the weekend, sometimes I might not pick up the guitar. But it's rare because I'm always playing guitar because I love playing. That said, I probably have the guitar in my hands at least 3 hours a day because I'm teaching and what have you. But actual practice, maybe only an hour to 2 hours a day. I wish it were more, but being a dad and a husband and doing what I do here and what have you, the day gets whittled away. We do what it is that we do, but when you have those things before you, those things might take precedence. And so I would love to be practicing 12 hours a day, to be quite honest with you. I want to be a better player and a better teacher. So, but that being said, I practiced a lot back in the day and need to practice more these days. What adjustments can you make from the springs at the back of the Strat? So behind this plate, there is a mechanism that holds the tremolo or the vibrato bar in place. And there are springs, typically three to five springs, or I could say 1 to 5 strings, but no one uses one. I don't know of anybody that uses 2. So typically 3 springs, and they are basically attached to a plate that is drilled into the guitar. And that helps with resonation, but it also helps to keep the tremolo system stable and allows us to do stuff like and bring the guitar back into pitch. So that being said, what kind of adjustments? You can adjust the amount of springs that you use. You can adjust the pitch of the springs for different things. Some people will take a little bit of foam, and they'll put it inside of the spring to keep the spring from vibrating if they have a lot of noise in their system, in their tremolo system. And but some people say, well, that's going to take away from the vibration of the guitar, and it's true, it will take away from some of the tonation, or it'll take some away. It'll take some of the tone away. So indeed, that is something else that you can do. You can also adjust. You can drill that plate further into the guitar or pull it out further, which also adjusts the tilt of the tremolo system. Okay, so lots of different things that you can do there. Leor, what's up, my friend? How do you only have 500K subs? Arno, that's what I'm saying, right? It's because not enough people are sharing the video. If people share the video, we have millions. That being said, subs recently here are going through the roof, so that's pretty cool. That means that we're making better content. I would assume that's what I'm thinking. But thank you so much. That's a kind comment. Very, very much appreciated. Okay, Daniel, thank you so much, my friend. Daniel just donated $2. Very kind of you, my friend. Whoa! Somebody just donated $20. We're eating today. Eat well, Sage and Sagettes. Sweet. Thank you so much, Brent. Very kind of you, my friend. Now the lunch fund just got real. Okay, we're gonna be getting some guacamole today, I'm thinking. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. So kind of you. And two friends, if you do a donation like that, and and you want a question answered, obviously I'm going to see it right away because it pops up on my screen here, and I can say, "Yo, Daniel Kren, he's got a question. Let's get to it," and I'll get straight to it because that's really cool. It's really kind. Okay, beautiful. Would you recommend scales or common? Okay, that was to somebody else. Sorry. I can answer that one, Sean. I know it's for subskip, but would you recommend scales or common blues riffs and repeat them ad nauseum? Repeat them ad nauseum. Or actually, don't repeat them ad nauseum. Just repeat them, and then if you're looking for more stuff, go find more licks. There's an infinite amount of licks out there, right? It's vocabulary, and you've got to get vocabulary, okay? Scales, learn a scale, but then move on. Get to vocabulary because, again, vocabulary is like when we're teaching a child to speak, we say, "Do you need to go potty?" And they say, "Yes, I've got to go potty." Great, now you just avoided an accident because you taught your kid to say, "I got to go potty." But if you handed the kid the dictionary and said, "Look, study this. This is everything you need to know," well, they're probably not going to do so well with that, right? They need to know specific phrases at specific times. That's why we learned a phrase. So it's a great way to do it. Okay. How can we keep all sites open? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or do we jump around? Ramon, you don't necessarily need to keep all those open. You can just be here on YouTube or just on Facebook or just on Instagram. You don't have to jump around. Otherwise, you could open up different tabs, but I don't know why you would want to do that. I would just stick on one, Tom, thank you for the kind words here. Eric and the UGS system are the best tools ever found, not just for learning guitar, but also the best support system going. UGS Facebook page is full of support and positivity. Thank you so much, Tom. Yeah, we've got an absolutely beautiful community started, and indeed. RJ, oh, what's up, RJ? And RJ, I apologize for not being able to pronounce your name correctly, but Ranquilo is an amazing guitar player here in Nashville, and I think I'm sure he's played Roberts before, but yes, Roberts food is terrible, RJ, and we need to hook up sometime. I need to have RJ on the show. If you haven't checked this cat out, he's a great player, got great reviews, and just a great dude all around, great player. So check him out. He's on YouTube as well. Beautiful. All right. So Lawrence is saying, I love the Hendrix style of rhythm playing, but I like more R&B and pop music. Any advice? I'm comfortable with pentatonic scales. Any advice on following the chord changes for soloing? Okay, yeah, let's do this again. So I love Hendrix style rhythm playing, but I like more R&B and pop music. Any advice? Yes, study Hendrix. Papa Stash, right? You know, Brett Papa, a buddy of mine who I have on the show here a lot of times. He's got some great videos for Hendrix style. Obviously, learn blues, learn how to play minor blues, learn how to play major blues, and mix the two. I'm working on a super course, a mastery of the blues course right now. That's going to cover both of those. The beginner section is just going to talk about minor blues, but then we're going to gravitate into major blues and mixing the two. So learn major blues, learn minor blues. And comfortable with pentatonic scales. Any advice on following the chord changes for soloing? Yes. Yes. Follow the chord changes for soloing. So what I mean by that is this. And here's where people get it wrong is, so if a chord is being played, if an A7 is being played, and people are like, okay, I'm going to follow the chord changes. So here comes that A7, right? And then they play something like this. They go, and they're just really arpeggiating the chord. Now, and then it goes to the D7, and then they're like, right? And that they're like, well, why does that sound like crap? Because they're literally just playing the chord. They're just noodling around on the notes. So what we do as guitar players is we find phrases again. We take the best of the best. Why would, if you're going to learn to diet, you're going to go to someone who's really, really fit, right? If you're going to learn how to hack your sleep so you don't have to sleep as much but get super concentrated, amazing sleep, you're going to take that advice from someone who's done this already, right? So if you're going to learn licks and you're just sitting here trying to come up with them yourself, I mean, obviously there's some of that you're going to do, but why wouldn't you at least learn licks from the greatest of all times, right? Why don't you learn it from B.B. King and from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eddie Van Halen and whoever else of the people that you appreciate? So you learn those licks, so learn the Hendrix licks, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, well, there's this chord playing, and he's playing this lick. Well, I wonder how that relates. And then this is what I do in my courses is I say, okay, well, we're going to play this lick. And I'm going to say, okay, well, now the theory behind that is we've got this A7 chord. We're bending up to these two notes that are in the chord, and then we're every single note here, almost every single note there is a chord tone, a color tone, and because of that, you're able to play this super cool lick, and it's not going to sound like you're just arpeggiating the chord, okay? So go there and check that out. Check out Papa's videos, and then again learn some blues. I've got lots of blues stuff on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues. That would be a great thing to check out. To understand how to just work one part of the fretboard is super, super valuable. What happens is a lot of times people go, you might have seen a post from me the other day that was like, more scales isn't going to make you a better player. Because what happens is guitar players will, in the beginning, they'll learn one scale and they're like, God, I'm not really able to say much. And then they're like, well, maybe if I learn this form, and this form, and this form, and I'll learn in this key, and I'll learn the modes and everything else. And then they get to playing, and it still sounds like crap because they've never learned a phrase. Again, a 3-year-old with a dictionary is not going to speak any more eloquent. In fact, he's going to speak less than if you just taught the phrases that the 3-year-old needs to know. Okay, very important to understand that. He doesn't need to know my router is down and I can't get to the damn internet. He doesn't need to know that. Okay, not yet. Okay, he needs to know, Mommy, I'm hungry, I gotta poop, these basic things. And as guitar players in the beginning, we learn these basic phrases, the ones that you need to know at first, and they're phrases that you just don't need to bother with at first, okay? Think Pareto's rule, Pareto's principle, which says if you learn 20% of the right stuff, you can take care of 80% of the job. The other 80% of the stuff, the harder stuff to learn, will allow you to do 20% of the job. So which one do you want to do? Learn the right 20% or the wrong 80%? 4 times as hard, and you can only do a quarter of the job. Okay? You know the answer to that one. Okay, great. Okay, good. All right, and just study Hendrix. Learn his songs. That's what to do. Learn his songs. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Okay, looking for question marks. Looking for question marks. If I don't see a question mark, I probably won't answer it because it's just going too fast. Okay, the chat is going too fast. All right. They offered me a free setup at Guitar Center. Oh, great. Jerry, if they do that, then do it. Definitely. That's a great thing to do. What kind of nut would you recommend for your Gretsch? I would not recommend anything than what's on there. Okay, that's a legit 59. It ain't going. The nut's not going anywhere. What kind of nut would you recommend for your Gretsch? I bought the Black Phoenix in the 6120, but broke the nut. Oh boy, Gregory, I'm sorry to say that I would not be. I don't have the expertise to tell you what kind of nut to purchase. That being said, I mean a nut is what it is. It's a nut, right? So there are different things that you can put in there, like tusk, which is a synthetic bone, very popular these days. Sounds like bone. There's wood, there's brass, there's plastic, there's all sorts. So, and the different variables create different brightnesses or a darker tone, bright or dark. So depending on what it is that you are after, the sound that you're after, it's a completely subjective subject. So there is no right answer. It's just like what's right for you, you know. But yeah, TBA saying graphite. Graphite's great if you want it. If you want the nut to slip. So if you're doing any sort of whammy work, you know, and you want that, if you don't want it to go tick right here and catch on your strings, that graphite's really nice. Now this nut just happens to be cut correctly, so I don't have to, or filed correctly, so I don't have to have a graphite nut. But nonetheless, it's a great bit to have. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, when strumming, I'm having trouble going from the D to the B minor. Can you play this, please? High Overlord from Upon High. So wow, High Overlord from Upon High. I feel honored. Thank you. So from the D to the B minor. So there's no secret that you're gonna see of me playing this. I mean, yeah, I'm doing it, but I've played that motion a million times. Here's what you need to do, Overlord, is you need to seriously get into the free course that I have, because there's something called transitions. I can't get into it right now, but essentially it's how to do exactly what you're talking about. And it's going back and forth between these chords. It's a certain way to think. It's what I call jumping from one rock to the next. If you're on this rock and you're jumping to another rock, you don't jump up in the air and then search for a rock to land on. You look for that rock, you size it up before you jump. You're going to do that similarly. Before you leave this chord, you're going to size up the next chord mentally. If you don't do that, then you jump in the air. Now you're thinking about it, and it's going to keep you from playing it in time. Okay, there you go. So that's what to do, my friend. Okay, when do you know it's time to upgrade to a better guitar? Typically when you ask such a question, that's when to upgrade. That means you're thinking about it, and really it's a subjective thing. So it's a matter of, for me, it happens like it happened in high school when I walked down the hallway and I'd see a new girl and I'd be like that. And that's how it works for me with guitars now. I'm just like, 60s SG, yes, please, or whatever. So that's how it works. If you've got the money to do it and it makes sense if you're playing. Now, one thing I do try to do is I try to, earn my guitars. So this guitar is unearned, in my opinion. Some of my other guitars are earned, but this is a rockabilly guitar. It's best played, that sort of thing, or Chet Atkins style, and it's unearned, and I know that, and I apologize to it every day. But all my other guitars, acoustics and rock guitars and blues guitars, and I'm saying blues and rock, they can be used for anything, but the way that I approach them, and then I try to earn those guitars. So, if you haven't earned the guitar that you currently have, then I would suggest doing that. And it's a good mental thing to do because it allows you to feel good when you go to buy another guitar, and then it will make you play more as well. How would you know if your guitar is properly set up if you're a beginner? FYI, you can just call me Verena. I have a spiritual name. Ooh, I love that. It's a beautiful name, Verena. So Verena, how do you know if your guitar is properly set up in the beginning? The way to do this is hand that guitar to someone who knows how to play guitar. It's the easiest way. Because if you handed a guitar to me and the action was too high or it was out of intonation, I would say, hey, you might want to get this set up. And because if I've played thousands of guitars, which surely I have done now, at least hundreds of guitars, then I'm going to have an idea as to how a guitar should play and how the intonation it should feel or should sound. It's like literally if I touch this guitar and I just press down on the strings without even playing it, I know approximately how it's going to play. I can feel the gauge of strings. I can understand what it should feel like without actually playing it. So giving that to someone who knows what a guitar should sound and feel like is a great place to start, my friend. Okay, great. New lifetime member. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Izzy. Love it. When you're in there, friend, hit me up, okay? I'll be in Nashville on the 23rd for Blackberry Smoke concert. Will I see you there? Oh, that's beautiful, Robert. No, but my wife has written with Blackberry Smoke. My wife, Melissa Pierce, she's written with Blackberry Smoke. I remember back in the day before those guys before they hit the scene, and she mentioned this group, and I said, well, number one, that's a kick-ass name, Blackberry Smoke. And then I heard some of their music, and I was like, these guys are cool. So, pretty cool. You've given me some great stuff. It was my turn. Oh, beautiful. So kind. Brent, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. And we will, in Brent's name, we will lift a margarita up to you today, sir. Actually, we typically don't drink when we go out. But I say typically, we never drink when we go out. But we could. We could do it for you, Brent. We could lift one up for you. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, looking for question marks. Do you have any experience, advice, the use with zero fret nut replacement? So the Gretsch has a zero nut and zero fret, and basically what that means is you've got the nut and you have a fret right after the nut, and it's just a different style. It's just a different style of guitar. And you'll find that usually on older guitars. But the question was, any advice on the zero fret nut replacement? So no, go with the previous answer that I gave, which was it's completely subjective. You're going to need to try some different guitars out with different nuts so that you can hear the sound. Okay, build the chord top down, one finger at a time as you're strumming in an orderly fashion, if that makes sense. Okay, is that a question? But yes, you're correct, Thrash. That's the way to do it because typically you build the chord from the lowest note up. And so even if you're finger picking, it will allow you to get the rest of the fingers in place before maybe your fingers finger pick those strings. Cool? Are those the original pickups in your Strat or did you replace them? No, Ison, I did not replace them. This is completely original, 65. And in fact, it's really a 64 Strat. I say that because blues players are always trying to get like 64, 65 Strats and or previous, but those are kind of like the magic years. But CBS bought Fender in 65 and the quality started changing. Now, that being said, Hendrix played plenty of post 65 Strats and he did okay with them. So don't get too caught up on that sort of thing. But with that being said, I really wanted to get something 64 or beyond, and this beauty was at Gruen Guitar. I saw it come up and I called him immediately. I said put it on hold. I had my guitar tech come out with me and he qualified the guitar and we took it apart and all that good stuff to make sure everything was indeed 65, and in fact some of the parts here are 64. So what we found is that essentially it's a 64 guitar that was assembled in February of 65. That makes a big difference because it means there's no CBS parts on it. They didn't get to dork around with it and degrade it. So But I'll take any 65 or 66 Strats that you have out there if anybody wants to get rid of them, because they're crap anyhow, okay? Just call me. Okay. Now, they're all, everything is original on here. Okay, well, has YouTube ruined one-on-one guitar lessons at local music stores? Has it hurt the business? Raymond. So I was teaching one-on-one until maybe, I don't know how long it's been now, but I started weaning things down way back, probably around 2013, 2014. Was probably still teaching some in 2016. I had a few students who I believed in them so much that I just kept them. But everybody else, I really tried to make it hard for them by making them practice their ass off, or just saying, you're not practicing and you're wasting your parents' time and money. And so stopped doing that, and finally got rid of my last few students. But the last few that I had actually were people who I really wanted, and I just finally had to say, I have to commit to this YouTube thing because I can reach so many more people. And so with that being said, I don't think it's ruined it no more than the Industrial Revolution ruined people doing everything by hand. You know what I mean? We're not going to stay stuck in that time. So for the same reason that robots are going to be taking over so many jobs, some might argue, well, damn the robots. Or we might say, well, actually, the robots are going to help us out a ton, and then we can do other things, right? Otherwise, every new technology that comes along is putting somebody out of business. So I don't really think about it that way. And that's coming from a one-on-one guitar instructor. I still teach one-on-one guitar every now and then if someone requests that. But no, so I don't think it's ruined it. And, you know, what has YouTube done for guitar players? It's done amazing things. So I don't really think of YouTube as ruining or helping any more than I do. It's just a thing. It's a tool. And if you use it the right way, it'll help you. And for some people who aren't keeping up with the times, yeah, it may hurt their business because people can learn online so much better. But think about this. I mean, with my instruction course, you can have a lifetime of courses, or you can have it for free or at least some videos on YouTube, 1,000-something videos on YouTube. You can get all that for free. Or if you took the same lessons from me, it would cost you tens of thousands of dollars because I can only meet with you one-on-one. It's just a time factor. So the internet allows me right now to reach thousands of people at once, or at least hundreds of people at once. And so that's pretty cool. So I kind of dig that, right? All right, friends, I'm gonna get to like a couple more questions here. And I'm gonna bump over to Facebook really quickly and make sure that there's no questions there. And then I'll bump over to Facebook or to YouTube one more time. Friends, if you haven't already, there is a post on Facebook. And if you want to be entered into the drawing for this week's live broadcast drawing, here it is, right here. This guy right here is funny looking dude doing this. That's the one you want to like and comment on. If you do, after the broadcasts, what we do is we pick a winner, and they're going to win a lifetime membership to the Unstoppable Guitar System, a lifetime of videos from me, over 1,000 videos just in that course alone, and constantly updating it. The Mastery of the Blues is coming up soon, okay? So check that out, and please go there on Facebook after you're done, if you have Facebook. Okay, and if you can share this video, that's a beauty thing too. I sort of appreciate that. David Gilmore is selling his collection, including a Strat 0001. Will you be placing a bid? Ian, I probably won't. Although I would love to, I probably will not be doing that. Does he have the first Strat? Wow. Trying to find backing tracks. I find good ones, but they say the key of C6 or key of E minor 9. Can I just play a C in E minor, or will that not work? Is it different notes? Can you help? Daniel, if you're in the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have over 600 jam tracks that you can't find anywhere else. These are ones that were created, literally by us. And so that's where you can find those. Otherwise, on YouTube, you can search YourGuitarSage jam track. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll teach a lesson, then I'll have the jam track after it. But if it says C6, there's not a key of C6 or a key of E minor 9. There's just E minor or C. So yes, essentially you could play in those keys, but you're probably seeing those chords come up, and they're giving you those chords because there's chord tones in there, and you could say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to noodle around that C6 chord. It's got the 6, so I can play the 6. Or an E minor 9, you could play the 9 of E minor or of E, and then that note's going to sound really nicely in there. So it's helping you there. But Daniel, that's a big question to answer without. Basically, there's lots of steps, which guitar's all that. This is why I implore you, my friends, to start with a step-by-step bit. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's Papa Stash or Justin, or I don't care who it is. Start with something step by step to get you through it, because it's the only way to learn it, okay? I should say it's the only right way to learn it. The other way is you're just going to waste a bunch of time. You can bebop around on YouTube. I do it all the time. And if it's a subject that I'm not very familiar with, sometimes I'm lost. Not guitar necessarily. I have enough of a basis of that to pretty much get around. But if it's some other subject, sometimes I'm like, now what is this? So make sure you're doing something step by step in the free program. In the description of the video, it's right above your message there, Daniel, at the top of the Facebook link, and then on YouTube, it's at the bottom. YourGuitarSage.com/30. That's where you want to go. Okay, and that will help you to understand some of this theory, and then I told you where to get the jam tracks. Cool. All right. Excellent. What do you think of the Fender Squier Bullet? I owned one many years ago, and it did great. It sounded like a Strat to me. That being said, the more affordable guitars are more affordable for reasons. The quality of the hardware, the quality of the wood, the workmanship, and or the lack of all those for the more affordable versions, okay? Makes sense. For multiple pedal use, is one multi-power pack better than another? Yes, there is. Should I stay away from any in particular, or stay away from altogether and stick to individual power sources, 9-volt batteries? Okay, so I did see someone post this True Tone One Spot Pro CS7 with 7 isolated. Okay, so the one spot traditionally has not been the way to go. That being said, it looks like this that the fact that it has isolated outputs is good, because one spot meant you just have one thing to plug it into, and then it kind of daisy chained. And what happens is sometimes you can have noise issues with such a thing, so a pro would not use that. That being said, they made sure that they used the word pro in here and isolated, because they probably had a reputation of that, right? The one spot has a reputation of that kind of noisy bit. That can be, and it's not always, but sometimes might be somebody using that out there right now is not having a problem at all. But I'm just telling you that there's pro equipment and there's not. But this may be their answer, so that could be a good one. I use Voodoo Labs, a lot of Voodoo Labs stuff, and let's see. At the bottom of this one, I just bought a new one. Yeah, this Voodoo Labs also. It's an X4. But I have lots of Voodoo Labs stuff. Yeah, they're really cool. Okay. But, in individual 9-volt batteries, that gets expensive. Then you have to unplug everything, because if you leave a plug plugged into a 9-volt or into a pedal, it's going to drain the battery. Did you know that? Yep. I bought a Taylor GS Mini. Yep, I've got one for travel, and that's been cool, but I'm wondering if you have a recommendation for a travel electric. I fly once a week for work, so I decided to learn to have something due to my time in hotels. I needed a creative outlet. Anyway, do you have any recommendations? David, I do, if you have the money for one of my custom guitars when it comes out. They're not going to be cheap, I can tell you that. But here's one of the very special things that we're doing on the guitar that you'll hardly ever find in a guitar, even in the most expensive guitars. And it's inserts inside of the guitar neck. So John Scott at Blues Band Guitar is building this first custom guitar for me, and then we're going to do an initial run of about 25. But they're going to have inserts. This is one of the requests that I had, is because I want folks to be able to literally take their neck off. Now, I know what you're saying. Eric, I've got screws in the back of my neck. Why can't I do that? You can, but you don't want to do that very often, because We're talking metal against wood. So you do that a certain number of times, you're wearing out its welcome, so to speak, okay? You're wearing out that wood, and eventually it's not going to catch anymore, and then you got a big problem. I would never do that with my 65 Strat, never. Or any of my other guitars any of my guitars that are worth anything, because you do that, you wear it out. But with an insert, basically you have a metal insert inside of the neck so that when you do screw the bolt in, it's grabbing a hold of the insert, not the wood, okay? So that's one of the things that I'm going to do, and I'm also going to be talking with a company that I've already spoken to that's going to be building me a gig bag for it. So essentially, if you look at this Strat, basically the length of the neck, so if you took that and stuck it right here, that would be your gig bag. It would be that small. So you'd have the body of your guitar and the neck all right next to each other like that. You could keep the strings on it, everything else, and then just put it back in, screw it in, boom, bingo, bango, jango, you're done. Now, with that being said, David, the guitars are probably going to start somewhere around the $2,000 range and go up to $3,000 or $4,000. These are not cheap guitars. Got plenty of cheap guitars out there. These are going to be high quality custom built guitars. And that being said, if that's not in your price range, and I totally understand it, wasn't for me even just a few years ago, I get it. But it is what it is. There's plenty of cheap guitars. I'm not going to make cheap guitars. But that being said, David, I'm sure there are some recommendations out there that are not that expensive, but they would have to have some sort of inserts or something, or a collapsible neck. I know there's some acoustics out there like this, but for electric, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Great question. Eric, what type of pedal is good for sustaining a note when you bend it? So, Paul, bending a note or holding a note really shouldn't make any difference in regards to the pedal, but having more overdrive is going to help that. Standing in front of the speaker is going to help that. There's something called the Freak Out. It's made by DigiDesign. I have one here, actually. And let's see if I can, let me move this camera over just a little. Actually, I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this pedal cam over a little bit. And then if we can get that pedal cam in there, Chris, this guy right here is called the Freak Out. And so even though I don't have this plugged in right now, basically if I press this, then what happens is the note that I'm playing, and you'll see this in the most recent Van Halen videos that went up. Look at the one where I'm playing Atomic Punk, the whole song, not the solo. Watch that video, just search YourGuitarSage Atomic Punk. And in the end, Eddie has this thing where he's standing right by his Marshall and he has this great feedback moment. Well, I don't have this amp super loud in the studio because we're not in a massive studio, and I also want to retain my hearing, unlike Eddie, who's lost his hearing. So I've got this Freak Out pedal, and I press that during the note that I want to sustain, and then I get this nice, beautiful, adjustable feedback that happens. You can tell when it kicks in. You can tell what frequency you want. It's pretty cool. I love it. So that's called the DigiDesign Freak Out. That's what you want, my friend. What's a great first song to learn? I only ask because I'm taking a course. My son does piano and wants to learn guitar, but he is used to learning songs along the way. Hot Cross Buns, oh boo. Also a trombone player, or Mary Had a Little Lamb, boo. I don't teach those. I could, but David, here's what to do. Because I don't know what style of music that you like, go to YouTube and search YourGuitarSage Van Halen, or YourGuitarSage The Clash, or YourGuitarSage The Cure, whatever it is that you like, and you're going to find videos by those folks, okay? Or YourGuitarSage The Doors, and you're going to find me teaching songs like that. That's the best way to do it. John is saying, I have bought my first Gibson Les Paul. I find fretting chords easier on the wider neck. Do you think I should stick with it or continue to struggle with the narrower neck Strat? John, do what's comfortable. There's nothing to say that you can't do that. Okay, it's a matter of preference. Okay, James, I need your life lessons so bad, Eric. Well, James, who's a top fan on Facebook, by the way. Start with the free course. I'm sure you've done that. And then you've got the 1,000 lessons over on YouTube. And then if you don't have the money for the Unstoppable Guitar System, stick around long enough. Maybe you will win. But we're always doing these live broadcasts too, so in any way that I can help, my friend. Hey, does musical hearing matter for beginners? Arno, hearing, everybody can do it unless you're deaf. There's no such thing as tone deaf. I will argue this till the cows come home, but sound in and of itself is pitch. So if you're hearing a sound, you're hearing a pitch. The only reason you're hearing a sound is because you're hearing a pitch. If it sounds like I'm pissed off, is because I've literally had arguments with people who say that there is such a thing as tone deafness. Now, I know there are some people that have some difficulty hearing, or they think that they have some difficulty hearing, but that aside, if you can hear tone, because pitch, any sound, if I drop a cinder block on the ground, there is a pitch there. Okay, a cymbal sounds, shatters, makes that shimmery sound, right? It's because there's many, many different frequencies. That's called the timbre of an instrument. That being said, hearing, the way you're talking about it, Arno, is something that's developed, okay? And it's not really that you're hearing any better. It's that your brain is building synapses to allow yourself to focus better and to be able to extrapolate things, to pull things out of chords and songs and everything else. But what happens is, like I have a video that recently went up that said something about like ear training is 80% music theory, because this is the deal. If let's take Stevie Wonder, someone who's just like a freak with his ear. If I play this chord to Stevie Wonder, he's gonna go, "Oh, you're playing an E major." I'm saying an A major. Okay, he's going to say, "Oh, you're playing an A major," because he's just being able to pick it up like that. If I play this chord for you and you can't hear that that's an A major, you're still hearing an A major. It's not sounding any different to Stevie Wonder. It's just that Stevie Wonder can hear that chord and put a label on it. Okay, so this is something you've got to understand, that everybody's hearing it the same way. It's just that what they're doing with that information is different. Well, Eric, that's the same thing, isn't it? No, it's not. Not at all. For the same reason that if I speak Mandarin to you and you know Mandarin, then you're going to know what I'm saying. But if you don't know Mandarin, you're not going to know what I'm saying. But you can learn Mandarin, okay? So you can learn these things. And if you learn the music theory, if you learn your way around the fretboard, then when you do hear something, or around the piano or whatever, then it's going to make sense to you. And it happens through repetition. So so the ear matters, and but you develop that. So no one has this bingo bango ear right out of the gate, with the exception of something called perfect pitch. A lot of people are born with this. Children, now I've watched some experts talk about this, and this expert has a child who has perfect pitch, and the way he explains it is adults cannot learn perfect pitch, but children can. I tend to believe what he says. It's not something I'm hanging my hat on either way, because I don't care. It doesn't make that much of a difference. I've had students who had perfect pitch and absolutely sucked at the guitar. Okay, and then I've had, and then you have people like Eddie Van Halen and Stevie Ray Vaughan who did not have perfect pitch, and they didn't do so shabby on the guitar. So do not obsess over dumb things, okay? If you want perfect pitch, great. I'm not saying it's dumb, but it's not going to make you a better player. It's just going to help you to hear some things differently than others might hear. Okay, I was practicing a few chords, and I'm stuck playing the same thing on the loop. Any tips to break out? Yeah, there's lots of things. Listen to different types of music. Find a course. Do something other than what you're doing all the time. If you're stuck in what you're doing, don't do that thing anymore. Do something different. But Eric, this is comfortable. Cool, stay in your stuck. Otherwise, don't do what you're doing anymore. Do something different. Stop playing the same thing. You're going to find the breakthroughs that you're looking for. You're not going to find them doing the same thing all the time. Lawrence is saying, "Hi, I want to get better at soloing. I'm comfortable with major, minor, pentatonic. What's the best approach to following the chord changes?" YouTube, search minimalistic blues. YouTube, YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues. That's the first video to watch. Also, YourGuitarSage chords, but I'm trying to get more specific with that. It's something about chord colors or chord changes, or basically it's like playing on the chord. Search that, YourGuitarSage playing on the chord, because I say that in there, and the algorithm should pick that up. You should be able to search on that, okay? But that's what you want to do. You want to be observant of the chord that's being played at that time, and then you want to center your licks around that without actually just playing the arpeggio of the chord. Minimalistic Blues will cover that. Okay. Okay, we're going to end this in just a moment here. What are the benefits of locking tuners on a guitar? Is it worth the cost to upgrade them? Depends on the guitar, but basically locking tuners will help your guitar stay in tune, or they can help your guitar stay in tune, but not before doing like 10, 15 other things. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage tuning, and you're going to find my video for that, why it is that you're going out of tune. Do all that first before you go buy locking tuners. There's this tendency for people to buy something because they have the money in hand thinking that's going to fix it, and they go through all that trouble. They don't have their guitar, it's in the shop, everything else, they get it back and they're pissed off that their guitar's still out of tune because they didn't do the basic stuff. Learn that stuff first, okay? Scott, great question. Could you tell me where to find your products? Okay, and that's the end of all those questions there on Facebook. Friends, I've gone way over. I don't want to do that. Thanks so much, friends. I just wanted to get to your questions. Do not forget, a couple things that I would ask you to do is please share this, like it. Obviously, if you're not subscribed or liking the page, if you don't have the notification bell and all that stuff, please do that. Why, Eric? Why are we doing that? Because of all the content that I'm giving out all the time, I want you to be privy to it. I want you to be notified, especially when we're doing the giveaways. We give thousands of dollars worth of giveaways every single month, okay? And I want you to be part of that. So that. Also, on Facebook, we've got a post that we just did, okay? You're going to see a guy that looks like me there, right there. There he is. And go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/YourGuitarSage, like that and comment on that to be up to be in the lineup for winning a lifetime membership of guitar lessons from me inside the Unstoppable Guitar System /365, over 1,000 videos. Friends, if you want to have your guitar playing change today, start there. Or if you're like, Eric, I live in this other country and there's absolutely no way I could ever afford that. Okay, I got you covered too. YourGuitarSage.com/30. The link for that's in the description of the video. Bango, bango, right there. It's there for you. It's a free course. It's not free because it's not worth anything. It's free because I literally am extending that much love to you. It is a very valuable course. It would cost you over $1,000 easily if you visited me here in Nashville and we went over that, and it would take about 30 weeks to do. So do that. Take advantage of that. Start there at least, because I promise you it's going to help with a ton of issues that you're having. They're the first 30 lessons because they're the 30 most important lessons, and they build a solid foundation. You literally could go through that series and know more than the majority of the guitar players out there, because they don't take the time to learn this stuff. They just jump around on videos on YouTube and they wonder why they suck, or they're not moving forward, or their hands hurt, or whatever. Okay, do that, my friends. And then if you want to get further, it's the Unstoppable Guitar System. You'll have an opportunity to get in that once you get into the free course. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Great questions today. You guys rule. Keep it real. As always, be kind to all beings. Do the right thing always. Practice your guitar. And tomorrow, I'll see you at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to announce the winner on Facebook, okay? The winner of the lifetime membership. I'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. See you.